Welcome! This presentation will review conflict resolution strategies and stress management. There are some general characteristics of conflict that you should know. Conflict can be predictable. Often, it's the same person or issues that cause conflict in our lives over and over. Conflict can be a person or a situation. Many times we experience difficult people at work or in other scenarios that create conflict. Not all conflict can be totally resolved. Although many conflicts can, you should know that some conflicts may exist without resolution, and in these cases it is best to just walk away. And most importantly, always pick your battles. Not every conflict is worth spending time and energy on, but if you know it's important to you or you can't compromise, then you know this is a battle you have to face. Conflict often triggers anger and other strong emotions. There are 5 steps you can use to help keep your anger under control so that you can resolve the conflict rather than get upset. First, recognize your anger. Acknowledge how you are feeling and be aware that you are starting to get upset or frustrated. Second, pinpoint the source of your anger. What is the other person doing that is specifically causing you to get upset? What does this action or situation look like? Pinpoint the behaviors or causes so that you can address them. Third, decide to use your anger as a tool, not a weapon. This means that you should focus on resolving the issues at hand, not hurting the other person. Sometimes you may feel better venting your anger, but in the long run, your situation is worse after that. Communicate, don't escalate the situation, and don't assume the worst or that you know how the other person is feeling. Use I statements. For example, I am feeling very upset because, rather than you are making me upset. Fourth, plan to act appropriately. If you are upset, the situation needs to be resolved. Create a plan of action to address the person or situation in a productive and calm manner. And finally, count the costs. Make sure you are aware of how your actions will impact the situation. Respond, don't react, and train yourself by practicing these steps. In most conflicts that arise, there are 3 typical behaviors that occur: giving up, giving in, or getting out. In any conflict you experience, there are 2 constructive resolutions you can adopt to help navigate the situation. Many times at work and at home, you experience someone doing something to create a conflict within your life. The first conflict resolution strategy is to request a behavior change. Remember not to generalize the behavior. For example, you always come home late. Instead, be specific. For example, you came home late 3 times this week. This is more specific and can help the other person clearly understand the issue at hand. Don't mind read. Don't assume that someone is creating a conflict on purpose just to upset you. Often, the other person may not even be aware of how their behavior is affecting you. Don't confuse issues with personalities. And don't address the person when your emotions are involved. Feeling angry, frustrated, irritated, or upset are normal emotions, but communicating effectively with someone when you are feeling this way can become difficult. Take some time to cool down and clearly identify the situation and how it makes you feel before approaching the other person. When requesting a behavior change from someone, use the PIRA method. State the problem factually, in detail, and without emotional triggers. Express the impact. State how the behavior makes you feel and why you need it to be different. Remember to use I language and convey how you feel clearly without negativity. Also, make sure you let the individual know how the behavior affects them. For example, if they are rude to others, people may not trust them or approach them with important issues. Request what you want to be different. Be clear about your expectations of the other person. And finally, request an agreement. Have the other person agree to the changes and work together to maintain the changes in the long run. So, for example, we could use a dispute with Jane. Jane repeatedly interrupts you during your presentations at the staff meeting. This makes you feel frustrated and angry. So if you were speaking to Jane, you could use the PIRA method and state, "Jane, I've noticed that sometimes you interrupt me during the staff meetings when I'm presenting. I know you get excited and I appreciate your enthusiasm, but oftentimes I am unable to finish the presentation because the interruptions sidetrack the conversation. Also, a lot of time is wasted discussing the issues that would be resolved if I was allowed to finish my presentation. In future meetings, could you please allow me to finish my presentation before giving me feedback and comments? I would appreciate this and know that our staff meetings would be more efficient and timely and generate more creative ideas. Thanks so much for your time and for listening to me. Remember to use your I language to avoid making the other person defensive. And if you are in an authority position, do not ask for the behavior change. And make sure you document all interactions, especially at work. This can often be done through a follow-up email summarizing the meeting or discussion. The second constructive resolution is to resolve the disagreement. In resolving the disagreement, you need to first listen to the other person. This doesn't mean planning what you are going to say while they are talking. Actively listen to them and try to understand what they are actually saying. Let them go first, listen to understand, and then talk. Also, observe their body language and eye contact, and repeat back what they are telling you to confirm that you have understood them correctly. Offer other ideas or suggestions and think outside the box. And remember that you cannot change the way someone feels, but you can make it okay for them to feel the way they do. Let them know you understand and can see the disagreement from their perspective. Make it easy for them to change positions without losing face. Attempt to make it a win-win and don't let pride or ego get in the way of resolving the issue. And most importantly, don't force the proof that you are right. If you have resolved the conflict, then move forward and let it go. Don't continue to bring up the disagreement because this will only create future strife. Conflict is easier to remedy when you have a basic plan of action for resolution. There is a 6-step approach that will give you a foundation to build on and help you deal with disputes. Step 1 is to ascertain and specify the trouble. This means you need to define the actual problem, not what you think may be the problem. If you fix the problem and there is still conflict, then you did not address the real problem. Separate personalities from problems. Separate facts from opinions. And make sure everyone agrees on the facts and one version of the story. Collect additional information if you need to, and search for any underlying reasons causing the disputes. Step 2 is to identify goals. This does not mean actions, but goals that are realistic for you and the other person. Ask yourself, what are we trying to accomplish in this situation? And what do we want the results to be? It is important to have all parties involved identifying goals so that everyone is participating in the solution. Step 3 is to generate other opinions. Brainstorm and accept ideas from all parties who are involved. Step 4 is to evaluate options and make a decision that is positive for everyone involved. Also, it is important that the decision resolves the right problem. If the answer you are coming to is still creating conflict, maybe the conflict is still not defined correctly. Step 5 is to set standards for measuring the outcome. Create an action plan that defines what each person is expected to do. Break the plan into achievable steps that are realistic and timely, and make changes measurable and quantifiable so that you can see results. Step 6 should set a date to review implementation. Make sure you schedule formal and informal follow-ups, show appreciation, and make sure everyone feels like the conflict has been resolved. Conflict is not always negative. It can be a positive motivator at home and at work. Conflict can increase the respect others have for you, strengthen relationships, keep productivity at a high level, and decrease tension that may exist. It can also increase trust, send a message that everyone is valued, and ensure that the solutions that are created are fully supported by everyone involved. Conflict and life in general can create stress, so it is important to practice relaxation skills to help create emotional balance in your life. Learning how to control stress and create outlets for tension will literally extend your life. Set yourself up for success by preventing stressors in your life and channeling your energy productively. Learn what causes your stress and identify it clearly. Fight for only the things that are really worth it. Again, picking your battles. Work on only one thing at a time. I know multitasking is always emphasized, but realistically, it is not possible. Instead, focus and complete one task at a time effectively. Don't procrastinate and try to have a plan of action. Reject perfectionism, as this is unrealistic and sets us up for failure. Practice good, sound health habits. Take care of yourself first because you can't help others if you can't help yourself. And maintain optimism and a sense of humor. Enjoy the small pleasures in life and nurture relationships, especially those that bring you happiness and are important to you. Thank you for your time and for viewing this presentation. So what's next? Explore lesson number 5, conflict resolution and managing stress, and review all of the resources available to you. Consider all of your options and reflect on your own life and how you can remove stress and address and overcome conflicts effectively. To contact me, you can email me at seher.awan@pepperdine.edu. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation and found it useful and informative.